Welcome to FOXSOUL's Black Report, your daily source for Black news, views, and opinions. Today is Tuesday, November 22nd, and I'm Mimi Brown.
And I'm Romeo.
I'm Demi Lobo. And on today's report, the Joe Biden administration is catching another lawsuit, this time surrounding student loans. And you know, we had to bring in the student loan doctor to help us figure out how it affects us. Meanwhile, the mystery remains as to who sent racially motivated bomb threats to HBCUs. FBI authorities believe one single juvenile is to blame, and processing that individual is currently underway. Then, Kenneth Walker, the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor, reaches a settlement with the Louisville Metro. This as he awaits a final decision in a second lawsuit.
Plus, bringing your new bae or boo home for the holidays can be stressful, but our relationship expert is here to put your mind at ease with a few simple tips. And Wakanda Forever is already considered a top superhero movie, bringing in big numbers in the box office. We have all that and so much more. This is our voice and our truth, so let's get it.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. If you applied for student loan forgiveness, you may have received an email informing you that you are eligible for relief. But a new report claims that it could be years before your loans are forgiven, if it happens at all. Now, several states are suing the Biden administration to stop the plan. One higher education expert estimates that it could be a legal battle that could last until 2024. So what does that mean for you, the borrower? Joining us to break it all down is Sonya Lewis. She's better known as the student loan doctor. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Mimi, thanks for having me back on.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, because I need you to break this down because thousands of student loan borrowers, including myself, they received an email over the weekend letting us know that their student loans had been approved. But it also noted that the program was on hold because of legal challenges. So for all of us, can you explain what is happening?
So, Mimi, I'm excited to come on today because some information just dropped literally like a few minutes ago. And so the email that was sent out by the Biden administration was a little confusing. Basically, it says you are eligible. In so many words, you're approved, right? But it kind of was a little misleading because it wasn't given a timeline as to when people could expect the money. And so we've been helping people on our platform understand what that email meant. But Mimi, just a few minutes ago, literally, the Biden administration just updated the extension on what they're going to be allowing payments to return.
So so break that down. They just updated the extension on what they're going to allow when the payments are due?
Yes. So this is actually a good news for borrowers.
Okay.
You know, payments were supposed to restart on December 31st, 2022, but it just came out that payments are going to restart on June 30th, 2022. And then payments technically will start 60 days from June 30th. And so this is a win for borrowers nationwide because people have been stressed out. Literally, people have been saying, you know, I was not going to have a payment if that $20,000 approved that I was approved for. But here's the challenge. The challenge is the Biden administration recognizes that it's not fair to make people repay when they weren't going to have a payment. And so the administration is still very confident that the loan forgiveness by the Biden administration will go through. And they're trying to give it about 6 months and 60 days plus to figure it out.
Okay, so that $20,000, just break it down because we may have some new soulmates tuning in. Give us the details on the president and the student loan dollar amounts, the eligibility, if you qualified, what that looked like for you, and how you can still apply, if you can still apply.
Yeah, so the thing is, they're not taking current applications at this time. They closed the window to apply, but I do believe they're going to reopen it as they did promise. They're going to give people until December 31st, 2023 to apply. So anyone that didn't apply, it takes about 5 minutes to do so. Don't be discouraged. It will reopen. We just don't know when. And I think they closed it because of the legalities that are taking place. So you're going to receive $20,000 if you receive the Pell Grant and student loans, right? And then you just had to have earned under $125,000 single or 250,000 married filed jointly. Now, if you did not receive the Pell Grant, you're going to receive 10,000. And again, same numbers, 125,000 single, 250,000 married filed jointly. So people had a good idea at this point. Are they going to receive 10 or 20,000? And people had big plans for that money. And I think a lot of people were excited to go into the new year with either no student loan debt or less student loan debt, which still in turn would impact their payment, even if it took 20,000 off. And so the extension was something I was hoping was going to be passed because it's very much warranted and needed.
Right. You know, you bring up a good point. So many people applied for the student loan. The education department, they said that 26 million people applied for student loan debt relief. 16 million of those people were approved. So what does those numbers say to you? Does it give you a glimpse of how many people need something like this?
Yeah, I think if you open it back up, I think we're going to get about 10 more million that apply. I think it is very needed, whether it's a big amount for some or a small amount for others. I think, the thing is, when we look at the number 20,000, statistically, that takes about 4 million people with no student loan debt thereafter. So we know that 20,000 strategically is going to clear student loan debt for a good majority of people and reduce for others. But I think the big thing here, Mimi, is that people are just really hoping that this administration keeps their promise and work actively to keep their promise. Let me say this. I will go on record and say I think the administration is the first administration to actually take a stand on student loan debt and do something about it. So whether it's the Biden loan forgiveness program or how they've really cleaned up public service loan forgiveness and borrowers defense, I mean, so many people are going to get their loans wiped clear with that. And all the good things coming in 2023, this administration and my books have really done a good job with holding true to their student loan promises.
You know, I love that. I believe you too, that this administration is really going to do something about this. But just in case that I'm not saying that they don't, but are there some other types of student loan forgiveness programs that borrowers can take advantage of?
Oh, absolutely. So let me just tell you what also happened. And it's not been, really been publicized. So I'm glad we have this platform to discuss it. So they basically recently, as of a few days ago, brought back the public service loan forgiveness program in a sense that if you were eligible for qualified work history before recent 2007 to now, and you had 10 years of work history, by the end of this month, they said, hey, we're going to clear your debt. If you've been in repayment 240 months in an income-driven repayment plan, hey, we're going to clear your debt. No application needed. And then they said in July, we're going to give people up to 36 months of credit towards the public service loan forgiveness program or the income-driven repayment program. No application needed. And so what I've been stressing to people, Mimi, is that this is the time to really be tuned in to platforms such as yours, platforms such as mine, to understand what they qualify for. There are so many people that are in the helping industry or have went to fraudulent schools that are going to see a big win in 2023. So whether you secure Biden forgiveness, PSLF, borrower's defense, there's going to be millions that are going to have no student loan debt by the end of 2023. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's a big win. We'd love to hear things like that because I think when this news first broke, there was a lot of people just emailing us and just wondering what the next steps were going to be. And so my advice was, actually I was going to ask you for your advice. You know, what would you say to worried borrowers? But it sounds like there are options for them out there.
The biggest thing I can tell someone is do not get defeated. Do not put your head down. Do not be upset that Biden forgiveness did not go to pass yet. There are so many programs that are coming out and literally the resource is free, studentaid.gov. Like Mimi, you have to read this website, not trying to be funny, like in announcements or subscribe to them every day because there's new news coming out that's just not making it to mainstream media that's going to affect everyday people to get rid of their student loan debt. So I'm really, really excited to just put out the small wins that would turn into big financial wins for people on our platform. But the other thing is, Mimi, if you're not eligible, you should be thinking to yourself, what do I need to do to become eligible for these programs? What do I need to research? Do I need to consolidate my loans? Do I need to get them out of default? So we have this extension is actually really awesome in the sense that people can really still clean up their loans, get on track, understand what's happening so that programs do not pass them by.
Sonya, as always, you are always so informative. Please tell people where they can find you and get more information.
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram, The Student Loan Doctor. Check us out on YouTube. We have a weekly series where we're putting up a lot of content and videos. We're on TikTok. I mean, we're just kind of like everywhere that you might want to be. And our goal is to just educate. And then once you know better, you do better. So if you're following us, they're following your platform, Mimi, there's no way that they should be leaving 2023 with student loan debt, or at least less of it is the goal.
Thank you, Sonya Lewis. You've got to come back and give us some more. We'll watch this play out, and we'll definitely need your expertise.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Demi, you know, you and I, we talk about student loan debt all the time, and so actually, she just gave us some breaking news. Student loan debt the pause is going to be extended. That's great news.
Absolutely. That is such great news, Mimi. And I always love when you have the student loan doctor on for us so that she gives us the up-to-date, the most latest, and the greatest of all things, because it's a lot to sift through. So thank you so much for stopping by, and Mimi, asking all the important questions. So, soulmates, we actually might be a little bit closer to finding out who has been sending racially motivated bomb threats that have terrorized historically Black colleges through the bulk of the year. An FBI official announced earlier this week that many of the threats have been linked to one single juvenile. Yes, state authorities are currently prosecuting this person because of their age. The identity of the suspect has not been revealed, given the federal limitation for charging underage perpetrators with federal crimes. Now, federal authorities say they are working with state prosecutors to hold the person responsible. Since the beginning of the year, bomb threats have targeted 49 HBCUs through phone calls, emails, instant messages, and anonymous online posts. HBCU leaders have been frustrated with what they feel is a very slow process, but the FBI hopes that these new findings show they are putting forth the effort. You know, I just want to go back to HBCU leaders being really frustrated because it's not just the HBCU leaders, ourselves as well. I didn't go to an HBCU, just being a Black individual, I've been frustrated with like what's going on, and I feel a little, you know, we went from no arrest to all of a sudden we're arresting a person. We can't tell you who it is because of his age. It just, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but you know, it's the first thing that goes to my mind is, you know, did we really find someone? Is he really underage? Was it really one person that targeted 49 HBCUs and 19 predominantly Black? You're going to tell me that one person was able to construct this mastermind plan to make thousands of Black individuals feel fearful to go to. You're going to tell me one individual is behind this, and now you can't tell us his name, age, or anything?
Demi, listen, I'm right there with you, because listen, the FBI said they had 34 field offices working, not 34 officers. Field offices. Yeah. So that means there's countless people working on this. And you want to tell me that one single child, basically, because you can't give us his name, so he's a child, was able to pull this off? Yeah. I don't buy that. There's something else happening here.
And there's a lot of students that are uncomfortable, a lot of student families are uncomfortable with this situation, even moving forward, because it has not totally been resolved. We haven't got all the information we want. We can honestly say that. And then you think back in March, where Vice President Kamala Harris announced grants that were going to go to some of those HBCUs, you know, for security reasons, between $50,000 and $150,000. Imagine that money could be used for other things, maybe it's paying off student debt or things of that nature. But instead, we got to put it up because of this situation, and we definitely want to bring it to an end.
You know, it really makes me think, too, about a person. Say, for example, this was one individual that did this. It really makes me think you could have, you're great at tech, right? You have to be a good tech junkie. It just really makes me think to have such a great talent, right? Not a great talent, excuse me. I don't want to call it a great talent, but to have
skills.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That skills, right? As a juvenile,
skills,
right? Just think about if you were to go into a degree such as tech or something like that and just put this,
to
whatever you have, to good use.
Yes.
Exactly. I just, it's just really sad to hear that this is an individual, a young juvenile individual.
Very disturbing. So means we will keep you posted on that for sure. All right, so there's a clip of Herschel Walker dancing at a Georgia voter rally, and it's going viral. Walker is seen busting some questionable dance moves to Bone Thugs and Harmony's hit, The Crossroads. What is going on? Okay, if Krayzie Bone and his group mates decide to pursue legal action, it would not be the first time in recent years this happened, or even this election cycle, that artists are choosing to distance themselves from candidates. Now, last week, the estate of Isaac Hayes announced that it was looking to options to prevent Donald Trump from using his work in any future appearances. This news comes after Trump used the Sam and Dave classic, Hold On, I'm Coming, during an event at his Mar-a-Lago estate, now where he announced his intention to run for president once again. First things first, Herschel Walker, I don't know what he's doing. I'm a longtime friend of Krayzie Bone, and I know he's got to be just like, yo, what are you doing to our hit classic record? First of all, you don't dance to Crossroads. Yeah. If you understand the lyrics and the background of that, there's no reason to do that. Then I support the artists moving forward, because there's so many times where politicians or anyone can take their music and it goes viral, and if for some reason they can be attached to it, and that could backfire on their career in some cases.
I think we're seeing this a lot more where Republicans are using lyrics. Even this election cycle, we've seen this where a lot of people do not want to be attached. It was something else that Donald Trump did. There was another artist, I can't remember, but they came out as well saying they did not want him playing their song. I think it was Rihanna that did not want him. He was playing some song. I mean, so I think, isn't there some music rights you have to clear before you can do certain things? So. I would think so, right?
Yeah. And I thought there was issues with the song Born in the USA. I'm not sure.
There's a lot happening.
You know, just on the, the legality side aside, this man will do whatever MAGA, GOP, whatever they ask for him to do. You think about it here, we have a black man, everyone says that he's shucking and jiving. That's a term that everybody says, he's shucking and jiving. So you have a black man shucking and jiving in front of a group of white people for what? This man will literally go at no lengths to please these individuals. Instead of, hey, again, another, using your talents for good, making sure people in the black community are taken care of. Come to our communities and, maybe do one of our dances and help us feel like you care about us. Here you are, doing, I don't even know, what is that, the moonwalk? What are you in front of?
It was a bad version of the moonwalk.
Is that what it was?
I thought he was trying to row the boat. I don't know what he was doing.
But Krayzie Bone did reply. He did tweet and said, what is this man doing? So I'm happy, too, that he did come forward and say, I have no idea what this man is doing. We have no idea what he's doing. No one was impressed. It's like, what are you even on stage dancing for? What are you celebrating? Like, what victory what are you celebrating right now? You should not be dancing. You should be putting yourself to work still.
Or defending all the allegations, maybe.
I mean, so many things.
I mean, there's so many things we could talk about, because there's no reason. There's a Georgia runoff, but that's a whole other conversation, because nearly 2 million people in Georgia voted for this man. So that's a whole.
I guess there is a dance.
There's a whole other situation. All right, moving on. 12 Republicans are joining all 50 Democrats in the U.S. Senate to advance the Respect for Marriage Act. The measure repeals the 1996 Defense of Marriage Act, which defined marriage as solely between a man and a woman. The bill also requires all states to recognize legal marriage between two individuals, regardless of their sex. This bipartisan legislation is expected to gain passage in the House and reach the president's desk before Republicans take control of the chamber on January 1st.
And a firefighter chief in Flint, Michigan, who was the whistleblower in the death of 2 black boys, has been fired. 2 months ago, Zaire and Lamar Mitchell died in a house fire after 2 firefighters failed to sweep the premises for survivors. The Flint Fire Department chief, Raymond Barton, punished those 2 firefighters for lying about properly sweeping the scene. The case bubbled back up after the mother of the 2 boys held a press conference asking for answers and accountability from the fire department. Barton says after a thorough examination of the incident, he found the 2 former firefighters lied about checking every single room, later admitting that they missed one. As a result, they were fired, but Mayor of Flint overrode the decision, allowing one to keep his job, the other to resign. Both eventually resigned, but Barton believes he was let go because the mayor and his state legislator wife, they were running for re-election and wanted to keep the fire union's endorsement.
Well, R. Kelly's manager is following in the footsteps of his disgraced boss and going to be spending some foreseeable future in federal prison. In July, Donnell Russell pled guilty to interstate stalking charges in Brooklyn federal court, where he was accused of using harassment and intimidation tactics to quiet one of R. Kelly's sexual assault victims. Now, according to the Department of Justice, Russell was sentenced to 20 months in prison. Investigators say Russell used phone calls, text messages, and emails to intimidate the victim and her mother.
And Louisville Metro, they have reached a $2 million settlement with Kenneth Walker, the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor. At the time of Taylor's shooting, Walker was charged and accused of attempted murder of a police officer. Those charges were dismissed permanently in March of 2021. The officers involved in the shooting were released from settlement without the requirement to pay. Walker is still awaiting a decision in a second lawsuit he filed.
And a women's volleyball team from the historically black college of Talladega College withdrew from their conference tournament in Alabama. Well, because of one of the players was subjected to racial abuse. The team was attending the Southern States Athletic Conference Volleyball Awards banquet. One of the Talladega president's players used a feature on her phone to transfer some data. Now, the player then received what was described as a racially motivated picture. There are no details on what the picture showed other than officials saying it was vile and vicious. After this transpired, the Talladega College team, they left the banquet and quit the conference tournament altogether. The SSAC released a statement condemning the behavior and reiterating how vital the Talladega school is to the conference.
A racist stalker is found guilty of running a stolen SUV into the home of an interracial family. Now, a jury found Benton Byer guilty of purposely ramming a truck into a home. The family had an existing restraining order against him for stalking and harassment. They say there have been several racially motivated incidents, including damage to their vehicle and property. But say the icing on the cake was when Byer stole an SUV and hung a teddy bear by a noose on the inside and placed a piece of granite on the accelerator and drove it into the side of their home. The family caught the act on the Ring alarm.